Sorry I'm a bit later than usual with the video this evening. Girlfriend caught a flat tire late this afternoon, had to go take care of that, put everything behind schedule, but no big deal. Let's go ahead and get into this. I told you this was coming. There was no magic woke 8-ball needed. I didn't need to dial the grave of Miss Cleo to ask the formerly great pretend psychic to predict the future here. This was easier to predict than the firing of Don Lemon, which, by the way, we might get into this tomorrow morning. I've been sitting on this story for several days now, but last week, Donnie Lemon, he finally revealed the real reason he was fired from CNN. Oh man, it is a great reason filled with the usual Donnie delusion. But over the past couple of months, if you have been paying attention to sports media, all we have been hearing about is the new and improved Undisputedly Woke. This is going to be great. This is going to be revolutionary. We are revolutionizing sports media. Sure, Skippy. Look, I understand that divorce is hard. Divorce is painful. For the last 7 years, Skip Bayless has been in a high-profile woke relationship with a grown man that calls himself Shay Shay. Hey, it's me, Shay Shay. Men question if I'm straight. I realized that the public divorce between Shay and Bay was emotionally painful for Skippy. I get it. You were dumped on national television. You had your heart broken. I know it takes time to heal from that emotional pain, but all you've had to do over the past couple of months, besides mend your broken heart, all you've had to do was come up with a strategy to draw ratings. Something that Undisputedly Woke's been unable to do since they premiered on FS1 back in, 2015 or 2016? As we discussed over the weekend, the master plan devised by Skip Bayless to compete with Stephen A. Smith and Woke Take was to copy Stephen A. Smith and Woke Take. You know, it would have been one thing if you were copying a winning formula. It would be one thing if you were copying something legendary, but the vast majority of the time, First Take is a complete disaster. It's painfully boring television that features one of the most entertaining personalities in the media. Stephen A. Smith is one hell of an entertainer, but just like everyone else, Stephen A. is restricted by his doofus bosses at ESPN, which to me makes the show bland and pretty boring. But yesterday morning, Skip Bayless revealed his superstar lineup for Undisputed. On paper, this seems like a dream team. Keyshawn Johnson, Michael Irvin, one of my favorite personalities in NFL media. I've got nothing but respect for Michael Irvin. Richard Sherman, and of course, Skip Bayless. 4 heavy hitters. Now, while this lineup looks great on paper, when it's put into practice, it's got huge, embarrassing failure written all over it. Just think about it. What do all 4 of these dudes have in common? They all have to be the center of attention. They all have to be the alpha of alphas. They all want to be in control. In a debate-style format, that just can't work. And that was put on full display yesterday morning. I wish I could share some visuals with you, but Fox is just a complete pain in the ass when it comes to copyright. They used to be really easy to work with, but over the last few months, they have become really sensitive about me using their clips, probably because I'm constantly shitting all over their network. But anyway, yesterday morning, this trio of masculinity along with Skippy Bayless, they opened the show talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is a topic near and dear to the heart of white privilege inside of Skip Bayless. This dude is in love with the Dallas Cowboys. My inside sources tell me one of the points of contention in his marriage with Shay was Skip constantly putting the Cowboys ahead of his relationship. Shay would be looking for some attention. Skip would be busy fantasizing about Dak Prescott. The opening segment of the show went about 15, maybe 16 minutes long. Guess how often Skip Bayless was allowed to speak? Now you got to remember, this is his show. This is his lineup, his team. Out of 15 or so minutes, Skip Bayless spoke for less than 2. This dude couldn't get a word in. It was a complete mess. The trio of Richard Sherman, Keyshawn Johnson, and Michael Irvin, they were constantly talking over each other. Anytime Skip tried to enter the conversation, he was basically shunned. It was like he was playing the role of the moderator who didn't have control over his own show. You can find the clip here on YouTube if you're interested, but I'll just go ahead and warn you, it was one of the most painful segments that I've seen in quite some time. Absolutely nothing entertaining about it. Now, they followed that up this morning with what appeared to be a fake orchestrated argument between Michael Irvin and Richard Sherman. Keyshawn Johnson got into it as well. What were they arguing about? They were arguing about which position was better, cornerback or wide receiver. Are we in the third grade? It would be one thing if this argument felt organic. It would be one thing if it felt real, but the entire argument felt forced. It felt to me like a desperate ploy for attention and ratings. And after seeing the ratings for the debut episode, I can't say that I blame them. Over the past couple of months, FS1 has spent thousands of dollars promoting the supposedly new and improved Undisputed. Skip Bayless has been telling anyone who was willing to listen, this is going to be the greatest comeback in the history of television. Before Shay and Bay officially divorced on June 13th, Undisputed was averaging between 140 and 170,000 viewers. On good days, they would come close to 200,000. Basically, their good days were embarrassing failure and their average days were huge embarrassing failure. The point is, this show, in terms of ratings, they've got nowhere to go but up. I mean, things can't get any worse, right? When you're at the bottom, the only place left to go is the top. All you need is a little assistance. All Skippy needed was a ladder. And to their credit, and against their better judgment, I think, FS1 gave Skip Bayless the ladder. The problem is Skip Bayless doesn't know how to use it. Fox went outside the network. They signed a bunch of high-priced talent to come in and rescue Skip Bayless from embarrassing failure. Michael Irvin, he ain't coming for cheap. Lil Wayne ain't cheap. Fox has completely revamped this show and they're expecting results. Now, I'm not an expert in television, but I have been studying television ratings long enough to have a good understanding of how things usually work. When a show premieres, or in the case of Undisputed, when a show re-premieres or re-debuts, audience curiosity will typically spike your ratings. After months of hype and promotion, people want to tune in to see what the hype's all about. After the initial excitement subsides, ratings will settle to their average. June 13th, final day of Shay and Bay. 173,000 people tuned in to watch two former woke lovers embrace in a passionate woke hug for the final time. The day before that, 143,000 viewers, which was closer to their typical average. Yesterday morning, after all the hype and promotion, all the marketing, Undisputed drew 130,000 viewers. What? Come again? 130,000? I had to check that number 3 or 4 times to make sure I was seeing it correctly. You mean to tell me your debut episode drew 43,000 viewers less than your final episode with Shay Shay? How in the hell is that possible? I might have to come up with a new term for Skip Bayless. I didn't think anyone could supersede the status of huge embarrassing failure, but Jesus, I guess Skip Bayless is damn sure trying. Let me just give some hard truths here to those diehard fans of Skip Bayless, which I'm not sure if they even exist. About a year ago, when Shay and Bay were still living in wedded bliss, I told you guys that the future of Undisputed on FS1 was not sustainable. If I remember correctly, Shannon Sharpe was making between 3 and 5, maybe between 5 and 6 million dollars every year. Skip Bayless was making around 8, maybe 9 million. For easy math, let's just say their collective salaries was maybe $13 million a year. Now you add the salary for the moderator, production and research staff, the studio itself, marketing and promotion. Fox is probably spending, I don't know, between 20 and 30, maybe $40 million every year to produce this show. Don't hold me to that number, that's just my guess, but I would imagine it's pretty close. Last year, the reason I said the future of Undisputed was not sustainable, Fox is spending that kind of money for the show to draw 140,000 viewers. The math just doesn't add up. Fox can put a doofus like Nick Wright on television, pay him pennies on the peso, and he can draw 140,000 viewers. Matter of fact, Nick Wright, he drew 10,000 more viewers than Undisputed just yesterday. Ratings for Undisputed, they were so bad yesterday, the WNBA dump almost tripled their number. Reruns of ridiculousness on MTV doubled their audience. Hell, Skip Bayless was heavily beaten in the ratings yesterday by the fucking Weather Channel. Instead of FS1 only having to pay Shay and Bay for these abysmal ratings, they are now having to pay a rotating panel of hosts, which were all hired from outside the network. Like I said, Michael Irvin ain't cheap. Richard Sherman, he's not working for the experience. Lil Wayne, I would imagine, is very expensive, and no disrespect to Lil Wayne, dude is supremely talented in music, but I just don't see him adding any value to a sports debate show. The point is, the payroll for Undisputed has increased exponentially, and the ratings are declining. I know it's a small sample size. I know it's only one show, but when your heavily promoted debut episode draws 130,000 viewers, there's just not much reason for optimism here. I've got a feeling that Skip Bayless is heading towards rock bottom. You know how they say alcoholics have to hit rock bottom before they can beat the disease? I feel like the same is true for Skip Bayless. This dude is addicted to his career. Part of that addiction is the fame and recognition that he receives. Kind of hard to be recognized when no one is watching your show. I just have this feeling that Skip Bayless is heading towards his own personal rock bottom, where ratings are going to get so bad that executives at Fox are going to be essentially forced to cancel this show. Like I said over the weekend, executives at Fox, they want to go in a completely different direction. They want to get out of the sports debate business. So the pressure's on Skip Bayless to perform. The pressure's on Skip Bayless to give the executives a reason not to change directions. In 7 years, he has been unable to draw ratings on this platform. So what makes anyone think that that's suddenly going to change now? Give me your thoughts. Skip Bayless and his trio of new friends debut with huge embarrassing failure in the ratings department. Woke Take on ESPN, they drew 300,000 viewers more than Undisputed yesterday. 300,000! I mean, God. Is this sustainable? Does Skip Bayless have a future at Fox? Does Skip Bayless have a future in sports media? I mean, the guy's 71 years old. I mean, is this the beginning of the end for Skip Bayless? Be honest with you. You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.